I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV for the week of March 22nd, 2017. A little bit of a light week, but absolutely no reason to skip your weekly visit to your local comic shop. All kinds of cool stuff to choose from, including my pick of the week, Manowar Soldier, issue number 1. This is written by Matt Kindt. Beautiful artwork by Tomas Giorello. And this is hands down the best looking book on the stands this week. And that says a lot when you're going up against Unworthy Thor and some of the other stuff, Reborn. But this is an amazing looking book. And this is the continuing story of Eric, the wearer of the Manowar armor. And we get to catch up with him, find out what's been going on with his life since the last series ended. And he is happy, he's content, and then he's pulled back into another war by the rebels of this planet. They're challenging the governing body, who are really evil people, but you could say the rebels are evil too, because they basically conscript him into battle and use him as cannon fodder. And it's just awesome. It's got action, it's got adventure, it's got romance. The cover is an homage to the Hildebrandt Brothers Star Wars poster, and that is not too far off from what we've got going on. We've got an intergalactic adventure happening here. So who's this for? This is for anyone who likes sci-fi adventure, anyone who likes the John Carter, Warlord of Mars comics and stories, anybody who was reading Manowar previously, and we do think that it is accessible to new readers as well. What is your pitch for? Should they be able to get into this?
I don't know. What is my pitch for that?
It should be accessible. It's
acceptable.
It's more about you being able to read the comic and get what's going on than it is.
The comic will tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not you're obsessive compulsive like me and want to go back and read all the other stuff, that's on you. But the book itself is self-contained and enjoyable as it is.
But you should. And the previous Manowar stuff, the previous run, I think it was Robert Venditti that did that.
For a good chunk of it. I don't know if it was all of
it. They're all available in collected editions. So if this is your first exposure to Manowar, go back and check out the previous stuff as well. And this is our umpteenth attempt at encouraging people to pick up a Valiant comic. Valiant is doing some amazing stuff. They have been for years, and it gets overlooked by lots of people, and I'm not exactly sure why. And it's not specific to our store. It's happening all over the place. After talking with retailers at the Comics Pro annual meeting back in February,
I don't think it's right, but I think it happens because it's Valiant and not Marvel or DC. If I don't read Green Arrow for a couple months, then Green Arrow will show up in Justice League or something else I'm reading, or something will cross over and will remind me that I like this and I go back and check it out. But when there's only 4 or 5 titles, if you're not reading, the universe doesn't reinforce itself. It's not something my father and grandfather and great-grandfather... Actually, your father probably couldn't have read it if you're young enough now. But it's...
I have children old enough that I remember point. Valiant from the 90s.
Yeah.
And it was not a good...
I apologize. Yeah.
But and those of you that maybe haven't jumped into it because you've been scarred by the variant covers and those are still happening. By the metallic cover. Those are still by all of the things that were bad about the 90s, and Valiant was a big contributor to that by overproducing, and it was nobody's specific fault. Everybody in the industry.
Or it was everybody's fault.
It was everybody's fault. It was consumers for buying too many, thinking they were going to get rich on comics. It was retailers for over-ordering, thinking they were going to get rich on comics. And it was publishers printing too many, thinking they were going to get rich on comics. But anyway, if your memory of the 90s and Valiant are synonymous, and that's what's preventing you from picking up a Valiant comic, please get past that. Talk to your psychiatrist and work through it, because Valiant is publishing some of the best comics on the stands today, and this is a great entry point for you. And if this is your first experience, there's a whole Valiant universe to check out, and it's not as big as we're making it sound.
No.
I think they said this year they're publishing 6 titles, so you can read the entire Valiant universe, and they're not even always interconnected. When I got to the end of this one and I saw the ad for Fred Van Lente's Tale of the Green Knight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fired up for that, man. It's Fred Van Lente and Carrie Nord, and
it's my favorite parts of the Valiant universe.
Yeah.
The Immortal Brothers Anipati.
So it's gonna be great.
Yes.
Manowar. This is probably the best value this week, the best art this week, and in my opinion, the best story this week.
Strong words.
Yes.
My pick of the week is Invincible Iron Man number 5. We've got a bevy of Marvel characters there on the cover, and nope, not not any of them who aren't Iron Man are in the book. So good on you, cover artist. Written by Brian Bendis with art by Stefano Caselli, which is also very pretty. We get kind of the denouement of the first arc of the Riri Williams story. We get payoff on her and Pepper fighting mech ninjas, and we get an appearance by Sharon Carter in S.H.I.E.L.D. And this book is awesome. I've had more than one person come in and tell me they're not even checking it out because of what's up with Tony. You know, they want Iron Man to be Tony, or they want to read a Tony Stark book. I think if you were liking any Iron Man book of the past 5 or 10 years, you will like this book. It's well written. The protagonist is interesting, engaging, intelligent. We still have digital Tony Stark running around there, and we've got some really interesting foreshadowing about what's going on with him. And it's just, it's awesome. I liked it. You should like it too.
Next up for me is The Flash, issue number 19 by Joshua Williamson and a couple different artists, Jesus Marino and Carmine Di Giandomenico. This is the second part of Wally and Barry trying to find Wally's dad, who was imprisoned at Belle Reve, and they end up running into Captain Boomerang, or Colonel Boomerang, General Boomerang. It's Captain Boomerang still, right?
Yeah.
In the outback, and they have to kind of have an impromptu team up to get out of the situation they're in. That's only part of the story, and it is good. Kid Flash kind of saves the day in there, and the payoff for me, the part that I enjoyed the most, I did enjoy that, is actually Wally and Barry having a heart-to-heart. And I don't want to spoil too much of what happens there, but Kid Flash and Flash have a sit-down, and it's very emotional. In fact, there is a page that only has one word balloon on it, and I thought it was the best page in the book. So, the other thing that you might not want to miss this book for is there might be a little The Button foreshadowing. I hate saying that. Is that really the title? The storyline is The Button,
yes.
Which is Batman 2122, Flash 2122, so It's coming up right around the corner, and there's definitely a little tease about what we're going to see in that.
Next up for me this week on Netflix last Friday is Iron Fist, and so of course this week we get an Iron Fist number 1 written by Ed Brisson with art by Mike Perkins. And this is a story. So Iron Fist is kind of hard because iron is hard. No, Iron Fist is a very 70s character. He's very much a description of his roots, and I think this story very much reminded me of another 70s story. A story of a 70s character, Smokey and the Bandit 2, where it starts out where the Bandit is drunk and he's recorded the Bandit sings Cole Porter and nobody liked it, and they try to pull him back into the game into being, we'll say hero, anti-hero again. And this is the same thing. Danny has kind of lost his way. He's going from fight club to fight club, trying to find a challenge, trying to find meaning. He's struggling both with his inner peace and with his powers, and something comes along to pull him back into the world of myth and magic and kung fu. And it was awesome. The art is, I think they picked Perkins to evoke the Carrie Andrews art, except he's not Carrie Andrews. It has that same kind of messy feel to it, or maybe it's just that it's really dark all the time. I don't know. But no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. Actually, you could probably pick this up only having watched the Netflix show and get everything you need to know. And Iron Fist number 1 available to you this week. Also tying into media, Ghostbusters 101 number 1. This features the introduction of the most recent Ghostbusters movie cast. I can't think of the name of any of the actresses in it. I keep thinking of
Melissa McCarthy.
I was thinking Molly from Mike and Molly, but yes, Melissa McCarthy.
Kate McKinnon. I follow the other lady on Twitter.
I know you do.
What is her name? Leslie Jones.
Yes.
I feel like I'm being tortured or something,
one
and I'm
more.
spitting out names. What's her face? Kristen Wiig.
Yes, Kristen Wiig. That's the name. And
I got them all.
Chris Hemsworth.
He got Chris Hemsworth. I got the ladies.
But this sees the integration of the classic Bill Murray-led Ghostbusters team with the new team, and in a way that makes sense. And so if you care about either of those things, it's certainly worth a look.
That was fun. Reborn issue number 5 is my final pick this week, and I've been reading in the Comics Are Awesome forum that some people are kind of unsatisfied with Reborn. I'm not sure if it's because of the delays between issues or the drawn out storytelling. But this issue to me is the issue that redeems the series. Now, I really didn't have a problem with the series as a whole. I've been enjoying it, but this is a turning point in the Reborn series, and issue 6 is the final issue. So we're headed quickly towards the end of this. This, of course, is the story of an elderly woman that passes away, and once she dies, she is reborn in this fantasy world where she meets her father, who's been reborn as a warrior, and she has childhood friends and lifelong friends that are not exactly who they appeared to be, and she's on a quest to find her husband who had passed away several years before she did. And we get some answers in this one.
And she's also apparently prophesied to be the warrior that defeats the Great Darkness.
She is the chosen one
she's
for her high midichlorian count.
Yes.
And yes. But I really enjoyed this. This was a great read, very emotional, very exciting, and one more issue to go.
And I think the pacing is something maybe we expected going in because of past experience with Mark Millar books. He tends to write stories that are paced that way. That's just the way it is,
Yeah.
If you aren't feeling like watching a 4-hour documentary on Nazism, then you probably shouldn't go see The Agony and the Ecstasy. If you're not going to have a good time. If you don't know what, if you're not,
who is going to have a good time at that?
Some people, documentaries are important, and you can never forget, Mark. My last pick this week is Darth Maul number 2, written by Colin Bunn with art by Luke Ross. We get to see lots and lots of fun Star Wars awesomeness. We get a decent amount of screen time for Cad Bane, and Aurra Singh. We get Darth Maul. It was Aurra Singh, right?
I didn't read
She's
it.
the one with the
ponytail, red
yeah,
ponytail.
okay, that's what I thought.
White skin.
Yeah.
Blindingly white skin.
Very, very
powder white skin.
And she tried to shoot Anakin one time at a pod race.
Yeah.
Just a lot of fun. Darth Maul is a iconic character, and seeing some of his adventures that we haven't seen before is good. I really like the integration with the characters from the Clone Wars. Go Star Wars. Star Wars books are great.
Star Wars in general is great.
That's true too.
In my continuing to be awesome stack is Batman Detective Comics number 953. The League of Shadows storyline continues, written by James Tynion IV, artwork by a couple different people, Christian Duce and Fernando Blanco, focusing on the character of Orphan and her connection to the League of Shadows and Lady Shiva. And there's fighting and kicking and stabbing and bad stuff happening to our team.
And the reveal of who's actually behind it all.
Yes.
Which was awesome. Hulk number 4, written by Mariko Tamaki with art by Nico Leone.
Yes.
This book is emotionally draining and awesome.
This is, I would almost categorize this as a slice of life book and not a superhero book.
Yeah,
Except
no, I
for
mean,
a
there's
few things.
supernatural elements,
Yeah,
but
it's more mystery.
But it's not punching, it's, living.
Yeah, it's more mystery thriller than anything else.
Yeah.
The Unworthy Thor final issue number 5, we finally get to hear we finally find out what Nick Fury whispered into Thor's ear all those years ago that made him unworthy. And does he end up wielding the ultimate Thor's hammer? Does Thanos get his hands on it? What happens? What happens to the dog?
Thori!
All of your questions are answered in this
Well,
issue.
all of your questions are answered, but some new ones might arise.
There is a new question by the end of the issue.
I was happy about it. I don't like having
You know
too
what?
many things
Again,
now.
I will continue to say that Jason Aaron's run on Thor is epic, and
this is a good example of it.
Yes, it ties in with stuff that happened years ago.
Years and years ago. Captain America number 14, written by Nick Spencer with art by Jesus Saez. This continues rolling forward with Steve of Hydra and his history, and just running us dead smack into Edge of the Empire. What the hell is it called?
Secret
Empire. Which promises to be awesome. And yes.
And did you read the preview issue?
I have not read
All right,
Secret
so we got a preview issue of Secret Empire number 0. I will not reveal anything. I did read it, and I think everybody is going to be happy with it, unless you're a fan of Captain America. But
Wait a second.
That's kind of the way it's been going over in the series. But written by Nick Spencer, it is worthy of the title event. and I don't think you'll be disappointed. And for those of you that have event fatigue, or maybe you're not entirely thrilled with the direction that Marvel has been going lately, Secret Empire promises to hopefully pique your interest, and directions will change afterwards. So I liked Secret Empire #0. I did not read that issue, but I've heard other retailers say that it is kind of a prelude.
I would certainly think so.
It probably butts right up into it, as Josh said. So get ready for Secret Empire #0 and the series as a whole.
Is that 3 weeks out? 4 weeks out?
3 weeks, I think. And there is a Secret Empire issue available on Free Comic Book Day, which will have original content. It's not reprinting anything. So I'm excited for it. My final also ran is Action Comics number 976, Superman Reborn Part 4. This is the finale of the Mxyzptlk saga. And some stuff happens. And I had to come in and ask Josh, now what exactly happened this morning? Because it's I mean, I was right when I asked him what happened, but I just wanted to be sure. So some interesting stuff happens. We get some more kind of breadcrumbs leading to the larger Rebirth saga, and good
potentially
stuff.
The Button.
Yes, potentially the Button. Now, is that what I think it is?
Certainly could be. It's not a normal picture of it, but it could.
No. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I think that's where. We'll have to talk about this after everybody reads it, because
you're going to read it.
There's some spoiler action in here. If you've been enjoying the Superman Reborn storyline, you won't be disappointed by the conclusion.
Curse words Sorry, I got distracted because you have a book over here, but it's Iron Fist, and we already talked about that.
Yay!
Curse words number 3, written by Charles Soule with art by Ryan Brown, and I am continually surprised with how inventive and fun Charles Soule can be. You should be too.
He would be fun at cocktail parties.
Yeah, you should invite him to your cocktail party.
Remember the time we did a Google
Bar
Hangout with
mitzvahs?
us?
I do.
It was you, me, and Laura.
Yeah.
That was it.
Good
Hi,
times.
Laura. Anyway, so, I mentioned it's a light week, but we both have about 7 to 10 books in our stack, so that's plenty, I think, for anybody. And these are the ones we think you should check out. All kinds of cool stuff. And we're headed into the crazy spring and summertime in comics, where crossovers are going to happen, and events are going to happen, and worlds are going to be changed forever. But there's also the independent stuff for those of you that might want to avoid some of the big corporate comics. Just great stuff. So, as usual, if you enjoyed this week's episode, please give us a thumbs up on the side over there, and subscribe so that you're kept in the loop every time we update or add a new video. If you'd like to continue the conversation with us, we've got an incredible group, a Facebook group that's private called Comics Are Awesome. We've got over 200 members, and lots of engagement, lots of conversation. It's a high quality group. We try and keep it high quality. So if we let you in, we think you're pretty cool. Until we kick you out. No. But Comics Are Awesome is a great place to hang out with us, and there'll be a link in the show notes. And as we've mentioned a couple of different times, we now offer subscription service throughout the United States. So if you'd like to choose us as your local comic shop, either because you don't have one or you're not satisfied with your local comic shop, we'd be happy to fill that need, and there'll be a link in the show notes for that as well. If you have any questions, please post them, and we will get to them. And we just appreciate your support. We appreciate you watching, and hopefully you'll get some great stuff to read this week.